strategy, defining your objective. If you're going to leverage your personal brand to build and grow your business, ask yourself why. One of the answers that I gave myself was, well, how else do I differentiate myself from everybody else that does what I do? And that's where the importance of personal branding comes in. So we can talk about it all day long, but if we don't put it down on paper or on a Google Doc or however you plan out your year or month or week, it means nothing. So getting really specific with those goals is key. And then the one thing that I want you to pay attention to is determining the roles and resources you're going to need to execute those goals. So, you can say to yourself, all right, well, if we're going to have to create sales funnels to drive people into our world, who's going to help me with that? I'm not a funnel builder. I don't build funnels. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a designer. So where and how can I find the right resources to get that done? What about the administrative tasks in your business? You really want to be focusing your time on those? Or would you rather have a project manager to help you handle emails, respond, whatever that needs to be done on an administrative level? I run my whole business off of a virtual team, and I've been able to do tremendous things. It's just a matter of picking the right candidates, finding the right team members, and having the right systems in place to do that. So a lot of the contractors that I've hired over the past to work on my house or other different projects around the house, they always come with like a tool belt. And they always lay out their tools before they take action. I've watched them. And that's what I want you guys to do before you start just throwing things against the wall to see if they stick. Okay? The one thing that I want you to do before you get started, so whether you have an existing business or you don't have a business at all, but a lot of my audience have existing businesses, but they could use improvement. I want you to do an initial audit of the brand. So I want you to diagnose and discover your existing assets. What is working for you right now? What social media platforms, for example, are getting more love than others? Where do you feel more comfortable? Are you a writer? Are you more comfortable in front of video? Where is your audience? And figure out, what do we need to do to dial that in and to crank that up? Because a lot of times we have everything that we need right under our nose, yet we're just too blind to see it. Okay? Here's another thing. It's very important. Understanding yourself and your fans. You hear me talking about this in nauseam, but if you don't know yourself, you don't know your fans, nothing you do is going to resonate and connect. So when you're looking at self, ask yourself, what makes me a credible resource? What type of personality am I best going to connect with? What is my strongest personality trait? And embrace that. You want to take close look at your appearance online and discover those marketable traits. Execute on those. Because everybody on this call has something unique about them that we're not using or not leveraging enough of. Okay. Then you want to go to identifying your fan base. Okay. Who's your ideal customers? Who do you want to serve? Demographics, psychographics. How and where do they interact with you online? We'll get into creating experiences in a second. But I noticed that Instagram is my strongest influence. Let's go all in on Instagram. When Dom Fawcett, when we were building his brand, he had some momentum on Instagram. I said, pour the gas on the fire over there because that's your platform. He went from 300 followers to close to 80 something thousand now, if not more. Forget what he was at, but he gets a majority of his clients through Instagram. So understanding where your audience is at, where you're best at, and knowing these demographic and psychographics. A lot of the questions that I ask in the Brand Accelerator program, some of you guys went through that program, is what is it about this person that we need to know that says a lot about that person? So for example, I'll ask questions like, what kind of car do they drive? Where do they get their news? What kind of phone do they use? You know, what clothes do they wear? What shoes do they wear? Where do they like to spend? What's one luxurious item that they purchase and splurge on? And what does that say about them as a person? That's the psychographic stuff you got to go deep into. And then what are the values and the beliefs that they see about us? How do they see us? Are they skeptical? Do they see us as a valuable asset in their business? We need to know that so we know how to market to them. Okay. So how does your audience want to interact with you online? And I cannot stress this enough. When people are trying to interact with you online, it is so important that you respond back and reply to everything. Now you're going to get to a point where you may miss some people, and that's okay. I'm just about maxed out at that point. I'm not going to catch everybody's responses, but I'm going to catch a majority of them. When they see how much you care just by writing back to them, it just goes a long way. And it creates that relationship capital, that relationship equity that not a lot of the bigger guys are doing. You know, Tim will tell you, he's been trying to reach out to a certain influencer and getting no response back. And here's Tim, he's invested quite a bit of money in this particular person. Still no response. What kind of taste does that leave in your mouth? And I try to share this as much as I can, and I'm passionate about it because that's what's differentiating me from those guys. I want to be the guy that reaches out and is perceived as someone who really cares. And that's what people are going to remember you by. That's how you build that brand. So knowing how they want to interact with you is key, because you just meet them where they're at. If they're going to DM you and ask you questions, then answer them. If it's spam, you ignore it. Like, I'm not telling you to respond to somebody that lives a gazillion miles away that barely has running water, because you get those people too. We all get them. Don't waste your time on those people. But the folks that really care, that really have a question that they're dying to get an answer for, those are the people you reach out to. So how do you want to interact with your audience online? I'm going to tell you right now, I'm having this prediction that 2020 is all about experience. How you interact with your clients and the experience that you give them will determine how well you do this year and how well your business is going to grow. So here's some social media strategies that I want you to start to think of. So how do you leverage social media to grow your audience? I just got off of a group call just before this one, and we were talking about how to soft sell in our content marketing strategy. Because here's some things that I'm seeing. The call to action, click the link in my bio to do this, I don't think is effective anymore. Or come check out this free masterclass, I don't think is effective anymore. People are getting too wise to the webinar. I'm not saying that they're dead. I'm just saying, how do we get creative with bringing people in front of us as an audience? So look at what I just did yesterday to have you guys on this call today. Most of you guys come from my email list. I said, hey guys, I'm jumping on a Zoom call tomorrow. You want to jump on? This is what we're talking about. Reply back, and I'll have my assistant put you on the calendar invite. Now, my digital marketing colleagues would say, Henry, what are you, crazy? That is such a long-winded approach. Why can't you just send them to an opt-in and have this whole thing automated? Well, I don't know if people want to feel that transaction anymore. So we got to get creative with this. So what did I do? All yous replied. My assistant put your emails in a calendar invite. And now you're all here. So there's a couple things that happen there, though, that I want you to pay attention to. If you guys are using an email marketing platform like MailChimp, an Active Campaign, or Constant Contact, and you're sending out emails constantly, maybe you're just pitching all day long, who knows, and nobody's responding back to you, that's killing your deliverability rate. Meaning eventually your emails are going to get sent to spam, promotion folder, and nobody's going to see your information. Nobody's going to see the messaging. So what good is a message if nobody sees it? However, if you get people to take action on those emails and they actually reply, that strengthens your email deliverability. So when all of you guys responded, that cranked up my grade, if you will, in Active Campaign. So now Active Campaign says, this campaign that Henry sent out on January 21st was a good one. We're going to make sure more emails like this get sent out and put into their inbox, not their promotions or spam folder. So I wanted to do that purposely to have you interact with me. Yes, it's long-winded, but it was effective. So what strategies and tactics are being used by other competitors that are getting great results? Another prediction for 2020. I'm a firm believer that 2020 is the year of the free, the year of the free. I'll give you a couple examples. Gary Vaynerchuk put out a 270-page PDF, and it was all about how to make 100 pieces of content in one day. And he just gave that away. Do you know how many marketers out there would try to sell that bad boy for $500, $3,000, $5,000? Gary V gives it away. I'm having David Meltzer come on my podcast soon. So I connect with him on Instagram. He gets my assist. He gives me the contact information. I pass it myself. Anyway, long story short, he sends me a DM shortly after we got all that logistic out of the way. And he says, hey, by the way, have you checked out my free course? And I'm like, no, Dave, I haven't, but I'll check it out. Sends me the link. This course was put together better than courses I have paid $5,000 to $10,000 for. Gave it away for free. I was so immersed into that course, I almost finished it in one day. Like I'm like 80% through with it, and I started it yesterday. How do you compete with free? You have to differentiate yourself. You have to sharpen your sales acumen. You have to really compete on value. It's a value play. So it's not that your marketing sucks. Well, I should say this. It's not that your Facebook ads suck. It may be none of that. It may be that you need to sharpen up your skill set because your audience doesn't see you as valuable as you think you are. And that is a tough pill to swallow. I had that said to me, and that was a tough pill to swallow. And so if your Facebook ads aren't getting love, if Instagram is showing you no love, it's not the platforms. It's you. It's you. I could tell you, I had my ass handed to me a couple years ago. I hired this guy. He had like 1 million followers. He called himself the millionaire. I forget what the hell his name. Ask a Millionaire, his name was, right? And so I got to tell you, so I hired him for coaching. It was a nominal fee. It wasn't too bad, but it was still, it still hurt to pocketbook a little bit. But we get on these coaching calls, and he would just hand my ass to me every time. Like, so his delivery was a little rough around the edge, to say the least. And I'm a guy that likes it straight. Like, I don't want you to sugarcoat shit. I don't. But just the way he was approached, like the way he was explaining it to me, the way he was talking to me, it was very condescending, and I just wasn't resonating with it. However, there was some truth behind what he was saying. So at the time, he said to me, let's do an evaluation of your Instagram account. He said, you call yourself the brand doctor, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and there's nothing about branding. It's all mindset stuff. If you're going to be the go-to guy for branding, why are you not putting out content all about branding? If you can't get your branding right and you're the brand doctor, what does your audience think of you? Now that was a lot to swallow. But that was the kick in the rear end I needed. to completely revamp my Instagram account. Now, when you go to my Instagram account, it's a whole different story. So I share this with you because some of you may be pointing fingers like, oh, my clients just suck. My clients are no good. My clients are crybabies. My clients are this. My clients are that. I want you to redirect that focus and turn it back on yourself and ask yourself, am I as valuable as I think I am? And if the answer is no, then that's where we need to go to work. And how we get there faster is by paying attention to what other people are doing. People that have much more influence than we do, maybe directly in our space or indirectly in our space, and pick out the pieces that resonate and build our business acumen, build our skill set, because we're going to get paid by our value, not by how many followers we have, not by anything else, Okay. So mapping out your growth strategy plan. There's a couple different ways you could do it. Okay. And these are the pieces of content that pieces of media that I really want to point out to you. So you could pay to play, which I do. I pay influencers on Instagram, a couple $100 a week, and they put me out on their platforms. And I've grown my account from 101,000 followers to we're going to break 144,000 today, right? And I started that September 1st, right? So paid advertising, when you're, in the right lane, it's a great way to grow your brand. Then you want to create that audience or take that audience and navigate them to a piece of media that you own. So that is your email address, your email marketing platform. We have to create an audience. That should be our goal for 2020. And we should create an audience that we own, which is our email list. You guys would not be here today if you guys were not on my list or following me somewhere on social media. And then last but not least, social media. But you got to remember, social media is rented real estate. It is an Airbnb, if you will. We need to take that audience and bring them to our house. So what are we doing? What are we doing to build relationships, to showcase our expertise, to validate our credibility, to show and prove that we actually deliver results, to bring them into our world? Okay. So this is where we position ourselves. And this is where we can start to design our personal brand identity. And it starts with the basics: our logo, our website, our social media identity. You could get into swag, you could get into apparel. But a couple things I want you to pay attention to. Let's just take logo, for example. Okay. Say you want to attract an affluent client that has a lot of influence, maybe runs in a circle which you would like to serve. If your logo looks amateur, looks too teenagerish, like over the top, do you think somebody of that influence is going to resonate with that? No. A lot of the affluent people that I know, less is more, simplicity is key. They like something, they like elegance, they like minimalism. That's just my experience. It could be different for you. There's some loud, extravagant, eclectic people out there as well. I've met them too. But from a branding standpoint, what do you think is going to resonate with them the most? See, these types of folks, and I'm just using this as an example, these types of folks like to spend money with things that are familiar to them or feel familiar to them. If they see a unpolished, amateur looking website or logo, they're going to say, what kind of value am I going to get from this company? Or what did they do? They just started out. Looks like they put this together themselves, and they're out. They're going to go with somebody that's a little bit more polished and professional that feels more like them. So that's the key, is to design for the person that you're trying to serve, not because you like the color pink, but they like the color pink. Okay. Marketing yourself. How do we do it? A couple different ways. Social media marketing, influencer marketing, email marketing, affiliate marketing. So social media marketing, a couple things that I'm doing that's working really well. I connected with people that have social media accounts, similar size as mine, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. And once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, depending on the relationship we have with each other, we share each other's stuff. You'll see me repost things for E-commerce Academy on Instagram. He's got a little smaller follower than mine, but it's over 100K. I get a lot of new followers from him reposting stuff in his stories. So what do? I do the same thing. So it's that reciprocal relationship. And I do that with 4 or 5 different people, and we don't charge each other a dime. That's a way to social media market. Influencer marketing is a little different because they want you to pay. These are the guys that have big followings, very engaged followings. That's where you have to spend a couple of bucks. But I got to tell you, my marketing budget for influencer marketing is about $3,000 a month. And that's getting me about 10,000 new people to my world a month. $3,000. It's not a lot of money. Now, my responsibility, now that I have that audience, is to convert them. And that's where you have to create the experiences. And I'm going to get there in a second. Okay. Creating experiences for your audience. Okay. So content marketing is so important. A lot of you guys that are on here right now, I know Gianna does quite a bit of content marketing, and she's out there on video and she's pressing on the pain points. But what do we do with that? What do we do with that? And how are we evaluating the effectiveness of that content marketing? So this is just one example. So I'm working with a few NFL players right now through the brandingforathletes.com sub-brand, and I'm coaching them. I'm using the same thing that I'm telling you with them. I just changed the verbiage because they may not understand some of the stuff. So I got to use, like, instead of audience, I use fans. They get fans, right? So are you doing like a day in the life video, taking them behind the scenes? Are you sharing client engagement? Are you sharing projects that you're working on? Can't tell you how much business I've generated by just sharing little snippets, 60-second snippets of client strategy calls. Because what draws people in? What draws people in? A couple of things: mystery, romance, confidence, obscurity, and comedy. If you can deliver your content under one of those pillars, or do a mix and match, or do one a day that keeps them hanging, or keeps them laughing, or keeps them intrigued, you're going to build an audience. So we forget. That's why I started doing my 60-second like Instagram videos. I just let it, I'll be talking and I just cut the video, or I fade it to black because I want to leave you hanging. Or the call to action would be, if you want to watch the rest of this video, head over to my YouTube channel. The full video's over there, and don't forget to subscribe if you like the video. That's what I want to create. That people want to be led, so you got to lead them. How to turn audience into paying customers. So here's where the rubber meets the road, right? So we got to identify different revenue streams. So website, e-commerce, sales funnel, affiliate partnerships, product endorsements. These are powerful platforms. I got an email from one of my colleagues today, and he said the subject title, I could smack him for this, but it was brilliant. Subject title, is your website down? I'm like, you son of... So I click, now I start panicking. I open it up, and it's this whole email about how your website is not a brochure. It's a marketing tool. And if it isn't generating and converting visitors to customers, it might as well be down. So I was like, you got that. So looking at our website and saying, is this optimized? Am I generating any business from this website? If not, that fixed before we start looking for more customers. See, we're so focused on trying to fill that pipeline. And I fell victim of this too. A lot of my clients have as well. I need new customers. I need to fill the pipeline. Mind you, you probably have some existing customers already that are dying to buy more from you, but you're ignoring them. or you're not giving them anything to buy. Okay. Designing the process. How do we make all this work? Let me go back here for a sec. I don't want to skip over some things. So I talked about the website, e-commerce. If you have physical product, e-commerce, specifically Shopify, is a really awesome platform to get something sold pretty quickly and easily. Then you have your sales funnels, of course. That's like your sniper rifle instead of the bazooka. You put one of those together, sell something very specific, and get them into your pipeline, and then you could sell them other things once they become a client, right? Affiliate partnerships. Who are some indirect competitors, perhaps, or who are some people in the industry that you could connect with? For example, I don't run Facebook ads for my clients, but I have 2 vendors or 2 partners that I work with, and anybody who finishes the Brand Accelerator program, and we're ready to launch the site and we're ready to run ads, I just tell my clients, these are 2 references that I have. Why don't you interview them? If you like them, hire one or the other. And then anything that, so if they go to that particular vendor, the vendor kicks me back a little affiliate commission or a little finder's fee, so long as that person stays on board with them. I'm not trying to hide that. That's a great piece. That's passive income. It's fantastic. And then product endorsements. That's more for my NFL guys, my pro athletes. But say you build up an influence, say you build up a real presence, and people are starting to send you product to like shout out, you can leverage the crap out of that. Okay. So developing a content strategy and creating a content calendar, designing the fan experience, and building and executing on this strategy. So you have to really think about how your audience wants to receive information, and you got to have as much fun with it as you possibly can. This engagement is key. So asking them questions, maybe showcasing one of your biggest fans or biggest audience members that are constantly replying to you or constantly in your face, maybe giving them a big shout out, right? I use an app. Let me show it to you. It's called INS, I as in igloo, N as in Nancy, S as in Sam, INS tracker. And what that does is it gives me analytics on my Instagram account that is unbelievable. So I can see who's all engaging with my content, and it ranks them top 10, top 20. So whoever's in top 10, that means they have been engaging with my content the most. Those are the people that I go to their accounts, comment, like, shout them out, because they're like my biggest fans. So why not show them love? Then the content calendar. So there may be 2 or 3, maybe 4, but now you're starting to get a little diluted. Core competencies in your business that you could do with your eyes closed. These are the 3 pillars that you want to create your content around. So for me, it's mindset, it's strategy, so lead gen, content, social media, things like that. And then there's design. So I'm going to make sure all of my content revolves around these 3 pillars. Otherwise, I don't do it. You'll see some things that I like to put out there. Like I'll put a picture of me and my son, or me and my wife and my son, or something candid, something personal. I want to just throw that in there as a wild card because I want people to realize that I'm a human being and not just out there constantly creating content, constantly creating, like, to sell or market. And that's my strategy. And I'm sticking to it because it works. Got me into the 2 Comma Club last year, and it really helped me build a strong audience. Okay. So how do we measure the success? Okay. How will you measure the success of your strategy? So there's some tools and softwares. Okay. A couple of the no-brainers is Google Analytics. You got to see who's going to what pages on your site. I'm a huge fan of Linktree. Linktree is $6 a month if you want to pay for it. And there's a free version as well. Has all this analytic built into it. So if you put the Linktree link in your Instagram bio, and when someone clicks on it, now they have access to multiple links that they could go to. It's great. So if I want somebody to go to my podcast, they could click that. I'll go to my podcast. If there's somebody that wants to If I want to take them to my case study, they click it, it goes to my case study page. If I want somebody, if I have a button that says for entrepreneurs just starting out, they click that button, it takes them to my digital products. Because I was getting a lot of newbies and I was like, how do I help them? How do I filter them? And how do I help them get to the right place? Because if you're a newbie, chances are you're not going to be eligible for my brand accelerator program. So Linktree. But these are all the tools and softwares. There's another software called Lucky Orange. I swear by it. It's $20 a month. It's dirt cheap. And basically what it does is you put a pixel on your website and it will track it'll attract visitor experience. So if somebody comes to your website, it'll automatically record their actions. So you can see what they're clicking on, what they're not clicking on, what they're scrolling over, what they're paying attention to. Quick example. We noticed when we were watching our recordings that people were coming to the homepage and going straight to the services page. So what we did was we beefed up the services page with an FAQ section, trying to eliminate as many of the objections as we could to get them on an introductory consult call. I would not know that if I did not have Lucky Orange as a software tool to see what my audience was doing. Some cool stuff. Okay. Identify a list of software tools that are going to be needed to build out the strategy. Now, I'm just giving you a couple. There's a handful more, and then we have to set a budget, okay? Because let's be honest, you're not building a business, you're not building a brand by yourself and with no money. That question goes right through me when I get it on Instagram. How do you build a business with no money? You don't. You get a job or you work for free, and then you build up skill set enough so that people will pay you, and then you take some of that revenue that you make and you put it back into your business, okay? So here's some allocation of funds. You definitely want to allocate some funds for strategy. Hire somebody that's savvy in whatever you're looking for when it comes from a strategical standpoint, and get that outside perspective, because we are inside the bottle and we cannot see the outside of the label. I cannot stress this enough. A Brand Doctors Growth Club meeting yesterday, and one of the members was struggling with scaling his business. He's got a solid team, but he's at bandwidth capacity, and he doesn't want to build the team out. He doesn't want to expand the team. He wants to scale his revenue. And he was stuck because he didn't know how to tell his existing clients that how he was going to raise his prices and why he was going to raise his prices. I gave him the script, and within 40 minutes, this was bugging him for months. Within 40 minutes, he knew exactly what to say. That's the power of hiring a strategist or a coach or a mentor, whatever you want to call it. But you gotta put some funds away for strategy. So important. None of yous would jump in a car without a map or navigation and drive to California. You wouldn't, unless you've been there before 1,000 times and you knew the route. But if you never drove to California before, you would probably want to map out the direction. The other part you want to allocate your funds to is design. Okay. We had this discussion in a ClickFunnels group last week. You know, does ugly design beat out polished design when it comes to funnel building? And I said, what does it matter if you do not have the proper strategy? That's number one. But number two, how do you want to be remembered and perceived by your audience? Do you want to look spammy? Do you want to look low budget? Do you want to look cheap? If that's your audience, if your audience shops at the dollar store, then by all means, go that route. But if you're looking for a client that wants to pay top dollar, they're going to look at the details. I had a brand accelerator client not too long ago call me out. He said, Henry, I'm looking at a couple of your projects that you've done in the past, and it doesn't look like your work now. And I'm just a little skeptical. I had a website design that I designed close to 4 years ago, still on my website. That was a gift. That was a gift that brand accelerator client gave to me. Because what did we do? We went back to my website the next day and took all that old design work down and put all new stuff up, because the design didn't clearly represent the level of quality that I'm doing today. So You have to invest in design. If you're looking to work with higher paying customers, I can promise you they're looking at every detail, the execution. Are you going to do this all your own, or are you going to have somebody help you so you can get it done faster, so you can focus on the stuff that you're really good at inside your business? You've heard this 1,000 times, but we still drive ourselves nuts. We still stress ourselves out. We still try to do it all on our own. You got to hire who you trust and trust who you hire, but it's a lot faster to unload that and get that off your desk and onto somebody else's desk that loves doing that stuff. That's how you scale. That's how you grow. And then obviously marketing. Okay. You got to make sure that you're putting yourself out there, because if nobody knows who you are, or if the market is saturated or somewhat saturated, you have to figure out how you're going to differentiate yourself, how you're going to put yourself out there, how you're going to build that audience.